Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Man United are considering a Donny van de Beek swap deal. According to 20 Sport, Man United are willing to offer Donny van de Beek to Juventus in exchange for Adrian Rabiot. I said there's a good chance that Donny van de Beek will leave Man United in the summer transfer window. He hasn't been given enough opportunities at Manchester United. Most of Donny van de Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. Mark Hughes was talking about Van de Beek not so long ago, and he said he feels lost at Manchester United and he's edging closer to a Man United exit. Now, it did say not so long ago that Donny van de Beek feels loved at Manchester United despite his lack of game time. It said a few weeks ago that Donny van de Beek wants to quit Manchester United after one season due to his lack of game time. And he said he wanted to hold showdown talks with Ed Woodward over his future. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer made an admission saying that Van de Beek is unhappy due to his lack of game time, but he promised him more game time at Manchester United. Don't forget he was out with injury for quite a while. Now, ESPN said back in January that we rejected several loan offers for Donny van de Beek because we was reluctant to let him go. Ronald de Boer's actually backed Donny van de Beek to become a success at Man United. But he is a good player. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Ajax last summer. And he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. At Ajax, he was predominantly a box-to-box midfielder, but he can be played as a number 10 and he can be played out wide. Now, we are going to sell quite a few players in the summer transfer window. It looks like Paul Pogba's going to be leaving Manchester United in the summer transfer window. Paul Pogba still wants to quit Manchester United and he's rejected a new contract. Now, Damasio says that Paul Pogba's got no intentions of extending his contract at Manchester United and his preferred destination is Juventus. Paul Pogba did enjoy 4 very good years with Juventus before he rejoined Manchester United. Juventus want a Paul Pogba swap deal. It recently said that Juventus offered us Paulo Dybala in a swap deal for Paul Pogba. Fabrizio Romano has said that Juventus are refusing to give up on re-signing Paul Pogba. Now, he has had a long-running transfer saga. He hasn't only been linked to a return to Juventus, he's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid, and PSG have been in for him, and before, Barcelona have been in for him. You know, if Paul Pogba was to stay potentially past the summer, then he'd leave on a free in 2022 unless we got him a new contract, which isn't going to happen. Now, we've been getting the best out of Paul Pogba in recent months. He obviously came on against Milan, made an instant impact and scored the goal. He does bring creativity to the team. You know, disregarding Pogba, we lack creativity and we're far too defensive. I think Paul Pogba's more effective on the left wing, you know, in more of an advanced role. Paul Pogba was out with a thigh injury for a while. He had an ankle injury earlier on this season and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. So he's sustained a few injuries now at Man United. Now, Mini Oriola has obviously been desperate to get his client out of the football club. Mini Oriola has been talking about Paul Pogba, about how unhappy he is at Man United. He made an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, saying that his career is over at Man United, he's unhappy, he has to leave, and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. Solskjaer was furious with Mini Oriola's announcement. Mini Oriola recently criticised Sir Alex Ferguson for forcing Paul Pogba out of the club when he was younger. A lot of United fans, including me, disagree with Mini Oriola criticising Sir Alex Ferguson. He did say, though, earlier on this season that he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season. And he made an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer. Because he's been criticised a lot, Mini Oriola, and he doesn't have a good relationship with Man United. Now, earlier on this season, Solskjaer said he's hopeful that Paul Pogba will sign a new contract. And we had been in contract negotiations with him. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. Matthias Pogba, Paul Pogba's brother, he gave us an update on Paul Pogba's future earlier on this season, and he advised us to sell Paul Pogba in the summer because he said it's very likely he'll leave for free next year, and Matthias said he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. As it stands at the moment, he's our most expensive signing. We paid £89 million for him. This is Paul Pogba's 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. Yeah, we need a good adequate replacement for him. Nemanja Matic, there's a good chance we're going to sell him in the summer transfer window because he isn't one of our first choice midfielders, and I've always had my strong reservations about Matic because he's always been a slow player and plus he's ageing up, and analysing the vast majority of his games at Man United he's been very inconsistent. He's had some games where he's been consistent. I think the club made a mistake giving him that new 3-year contract. Matic has been at the club almost 4 years now. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. There's a good chance Juan Mata's going to leave. Juan Mata doesn't get in our team now. Juan Mata's current contract expires in June. These and options trigger his contract for a further year. Juan Mata has lost that yard of pace and he's ageing up. Earlier on this season, he rejected an £18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Juan Mata's had a good career at Man United. He's been at the club nearly 7 years now. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. Edinson Cavani, there's a good chance he's going to leave. Man United recently held showdown talks with Edinson Cavani over his future at the club. Now we want to convince him to stay for next season. Edinson Cavani's current contract expires in June. The Uruguay coach has urged Edinson Cavani to leave. Now, Solskjaer said a few weeks ago that he's hopeful that Cavani will stay, and he did say that we have been in contract discussions with him. But Solskjaer said earlier on this season that Cavani was closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Manchester United. And his father came out, Cavani's, and said that Cavani's unhappy, he doesn't feel comfortable in England and he wants to leave. Cavani's sustained a few injuries at Man United, but I think he's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. You know, his hold-up play's been good, he's created chances and he's scored good goals, and his movement in the box has also been good. Got him on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year. A lot of Man United fans are saying that we need to sell Anthony Martial in the summer because Martial has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. The chances have been there for him, but he hasn't converted them in quite a few games. He hasn't really got a lot. He hasn't really been given enough service, and he's looked self-isolated. But earlier on this season, Solskjaer backed Martial to rediscover his form. And he said he has been impressed with his work rate. I think Martial's got an injury at the moment. Not so long ago he was out with a hip injury, and before that he had a hip injury. I reckon Martial's had 2 good seasons. He was good last season and he was good in his debut season under Van Gaal. We got Martial in a deal worth 54 million from Monaco. He has been at the club now over 5 years, and I think it was last season Solskjaer gave him that number 9 shirt. Phil Jones, I'm also expecting him to leave. Phil Jones doesn't get in our team. Phil Jones has always been inconsistent. Jones is the only outfield player that's still here from the Ferguson era. This is Jones' 10th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant. He's been out of injury for over a year. Axel Tuanzebe, could we offload him because he doesn't get in our 11? Romero, I'm expecting us to offload him. There's a chance that we'll sell David De Gea in the summer transfer window, so we can make Dean Henderson our number 1. Now, apparently Solskjaer has made his goalkeeper decision, and he's going to stick with either Henderson or De Gea for the remainder of this season. I just think that De Gea has now had his years at Manchester United. You know, he's been a long servant at the club. This is his 10th season at Manchester United. He's made over 500 appearances in all competitions. A few years ago, he was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. But in the last couple of years, he's made calamitous mistakes. So reflecting on that, he's become a liability. He does have 2 years left on his current contract, De Gea, and he's on 375 grand a week, which is a substantial amount. I reckon if we sell him in the summer transfer window, we'll get around £50 million for him, but that's still a lot more than what we paid for him. I think there's a good chance De Gea will go back to Spain. Main explanations is because he was born in Spain, his relatives are from Spain, his girlfriend's from Spain, and he began his footballing career in Spain. And he was very close to joining Real Madrid back in 2015, but due to a fax machine on deadline day, the move never materialised. And I think we'll be looking to get rid of Diego Dalot permanently. So in the summer transfer window, we're going to focus on the incomings and the outgoings. Now, I'm expecting Man United to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer transfer window. I've identified the weaknesses in the squad. I think Man United need a striker, we need a right winger, we need a defensive midfielder, and we also need a centre-half. Now, as you all know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to sign Erling Haaland from Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer worked with Erling Haaland at Molde. Solskjaer gave him his debut at just the age of 16. And back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. And recent narrative said that Solskjaer keeps calling Erling Haaland to persuade him to join Man United. Solskjaer reveals that Erling Haaland struggled with bad knees at Molde, but Solskjaer revealed how impressed he was with Haaland's training at Molde. And earlier on this season, Ole said he's keeping in touch with him and he's following his progress. Now, apparently, Mini Oriola and Erling Haaland are in Barcelona for talks. So now there's a chance that Haaland will go to Barcelona. But there's been so many clubs in for him. It's said not so long ago that Borussia Dortmund had revealed their asking price, and it's 154 million. Dortmund are going to find it extremely difficult to sell him if they are demanding that much. But there's a good chance Haaland will leave, especially if Dortmund fail to qualify for the Champions League. Erling Haaland's father, Alf-Inge Haaland, has spoken about his son's prospects and his career and that. Before, he's spoken about his son's transfer links to Man United. Haaland has a £68 million release clause but doesn't become active till next year. You know, Haaland's been at Dortmund over a year. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him and he's under contract with Dortmund until 2024. And Mini Oriola was recently talking about him. He says maybe he did make a mistake by sending Haaland to Dortmund. Maybe it was just too careful. You already know the news on Harry Kane from Tottenham. He's another striker on our agenda. I think it was from the Express yesterday. Daniel Levy has made a transfer decision on Harry Kane. He says Tottenham will not sell Harry Kane to another Premier League club. He says Harry Kane is delaying his transfer decision until after the Euros, so he's refused to commit his future to the club. Harry Kane is regarded as one of the best strikers in the world because obviously he's a prolific goal scorer and his link-up play is good. He's won the Golden Boot a couple of times. David Ornstein was talking about it not so long ago. He said he spoke to people. He says that Kane wants to leave because he's unhappy. He said he's committed whilst he's at Tottenham, but he wants to win the biggest trophies and he's not experiencing this at Tottenham. Kane has been at Tottenham for like 17 years now. He's been in their senior squad since 2009. He's got a contract with Tottenham until 2024. I think Tottenham value him at around £150 million. But it's us and City that have been in for him because we're both in search for a number 9. And City are obviously now looking for a replacement for Aguero because I think it's been announced that he's going to be leaving Manchester City. You know the news on Jadon Sancho as well from Borussia Dortmund. We're still interested in getting him. We believe we've got a chance of getting him for a cut price fee of 50 million in the summer transfer window. He was our number 1 priority target last summer, don't forget. And Jadon Sancho has visited our Carrington training ground a few times. You know, we've got Rafael Varane still on our agenda. Pau Torres has been on our agenda in recent weeks. Yesterday I give you the news on Jules Koundé from Sevilla. Sevilla have slapped a 68 million price tag on Jules Koundé. Romano was talking about it. He says Sevilla's 68 million asking price is complicating a deal. But he said he's one of the most appreciated players on United's radar. But this year's summer transfer window is the biggest in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career. I reckon Solskjaer needs at least £200 million if he's to get the players he wants to recommend in the summer transfer window. Now earlier on this season, Solskjaer did warn we may not do business as usual due to the coronavirus pandemic, but he said he's interested in bringing in players that will be a perfect fit for the club. He said earlier on this season that our transfer budget had been revealed for the summer transfer window and it's £80 million. A lot of United fans were shocked in that aspect because we know £80 million is nowhere near enough for us to get the players we want to recommend in. The summer transfer window will be Ole's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. I can assure Solskjaer will still be Man United manager in the summer transfer window. He will be Man United manager next season. I did say he does deserve at least another season at the club. We have said that Solskjaer will not be sacked even if we fail to win the Europa League this season. The Europa League is our only chance of winning any silverware this season. I've said Solskjaer must win a trophy at Manchester United because he's not yet won a trophy and we haven't won a trophy since 2017. He did say though not so long ago that winning trophies can be an ego thing. He said that having regards to some other managers and some other clubs. And he just said that clubs like Man United, trophies no longer prove success. I've got to disagree with him in that aspect. I can assure we will finish in the top 4 this season. I assured that after our 1-0 win against West Ham. There's a good chance we'll finish second. A second place finish isn't good enough if we can't get the Europa League. If we finish second and win the Europa League, I'll turn around and say, yeah, that represents a good season for Man United and that gives us something to build on going on into next season. I can assure Solskjaer's not the long-term manager for Man United, but he has agreed a new 3-year contract worth 30 million. It's likely to be 2 years with an option of a further year. Sources at Old Trafford came out a few weeks ago and said that talks were set to begin any day on the new deal. Because Ole is now into the final year of his current 3-year contract. A lot of United fans disagree with us giving him a new contract. Does he deserve a new contract? In some aspects, yeah. In some aspects, no. But I think there's a good chance that Solskjaer will get the backing he deserves in the summer transfer window because obviously Woodward has come out and said that he believes that Solskjaer is the right man to lead the club forward. He released a statement earlier on this season saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear, so in that aspect Woodward is backing him, and in general Woodward's come out several times to show his support for Ole even during them bad periods. And obviously we've got John Murtough. He's our director of football. And John Murtough knows the club well because he's been at United since 2014. And we've got Darren Fletcher. He's our technical director. And don't forget he endured 2 decades as a player for Man United. So he knows the club through thick and thin. And Solskjaer's already discussed our transfer targets with our recruitment team. And he's discussed our transfer plans for the summer in general. The main explanation why Solskjaer is still Manchester United manager is because he's a club legend. And reflecting on that, our board have a soft stance on him. Disregarding being a club legend, I can almost assure he wouldn't have been Manchester United manager now. You know, this is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's second full season at the club. And he's been Manchester United manager now, is it almost 28 months? So he's been here over 2 years. Reflecting how long he's been at the football club, he has gained some managerial experience and he has learned quite a bit on the job. You know, before he was with us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles in that at Molde, but they're not a big club. And before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff, and his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. And don't forget he managed a Man United reserve team for a couple of years, so he watched some of this team grow and develop. My 2 biggest concerns though about Ole is his decision making, and he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager. Yeah, keep him for now, but I think as soon as someone becomes available, then I think the club need to consider sacking him. I just think Solskjaer's in a position he shouldn't be really in. You know, Ole knew when he'd taken over at Manchester United it was going to be a massive job. You know, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. But we have got to credit him in quite a few aspects. You know, he's made some good signings since he become Man United manager. He's spent almost £300 million and so far he's enjoyed 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. He's got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he's come in. He did well last season in his first full season, guided us to 3 semi-finals, got us a 3rd place finish and got us qualification for the Champions League. You know, this season, got us to the EFL Cup semi-final, got us to the FA Cup quarters and got us to the Europa League quarter-finals. Got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. Haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. We're 2nd in the Premier League. At one point, Solskjaer got us top of the league. And we've enjoyed very good periods under Ole, where we have seen consistency. And in some of them good periods, he's got the best out of the team. So there are the positives. I said to you, didn't I? You know, there's not all negativity regarding Solskjaer. I've probably got to say that Solskjaer is our best manager since Ferguson. But in the last 8 years at Manchester United, nothing has changed. It's just been an ongoing cycle of inconsistency. You know, we've sacked 3 managers since Ferguson retired. That was David Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. Despite us doing that, still nothing has really changed. We spent over £1 billion on players, in the last 8 years, and we must have brought around 37 players in since Ferguson retired. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, which is 8 years ago, and I don't think Solskjaer's good enough to lead us to a Premier League title. I hope I'm wrong. Mistakes have been made in the last 8 years, and that's why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. The board's been one of the biggest issues at the club for a while. Main explanations is reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players. And in general, the managers that we've had since Ferguson retired haven't got the players that they wanted to recommend in. And I think a lot of the players we've brought in the last 8 years haven't been the right calibre players for Manchester United. So, on my next video, I will be giving you the preview for the Manchester United-Brighton game. So anyway guys, that's everything to update for today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.